Well, finally made it down to the river using the same setup as always. Link Leisure, low resistance, quick change Link Leisure setup, Drennan ultralight mini feeder rod, and this time using a 1 ounce tip on it, and £6 line, Silstar Matrix Tiny 20 that you've seen on numerous of my videos. I'm not going to bore you with the Link Leisure setup, you've seen that plenty of times on my other videos and vlogs. But yeah, going to be using bread today, lobworms, maggots, redworms. Haven't got any liquidised bread with me, but I have bought a slightly larger home baked loaf which I'm going to break up. Can always mix and make into mash as and when need be. I'm trying to basically cut down on a lot of the weight that I'm carrying. So that's my main plan of attack. See if we can get some chub and maybe a few perch. There's some cracking areas here on this particular waterway where you've got beautiful debris, you've got fallen trees, lovely areas where those particular tree roots have turned over, trees are in the water, and then you've got the amount of floods over the years which have hit those areas and it's just scoured out the bottom and created deeper runs. So I'm going to be trying to be opportunistic as ever, dropping into swims. Some I might put a little bit of loose fed maggot into, other spots I might just simply drop in with a worm or bread or cheese paste and just see who's at home. And I've got to say, conditions for the time of year, you couldn't really want for better. It's dull, it's exceedingly mild, as Mr. Gitling might say, exceedingly, and you know, I would be hopeful to get a little pour or two in one of the swims that I'm going to be fishing. But yeah, it does look nice for a spot of mixing it up and hopping between swims, and you know, knocking on a few doorbells and seeing who might answer the door and see if anyone's at home. But yeah, I'm not going to waffle on too much. Let's crack on, shall we? Can't wait to wet a line. Well, finally in. A lovely confident bite. It's just on the lobworm. It's not too bad looking chub either. Very nice. Incredible. I've not got my net made up either. It's a little bit jammy. I forgot to extend my net to casting. I was that excited to give it a go. That's a very nice take. That's a plump chebbin. Very, very nice. It's been tricky, I'll tell you. No lie, no word of a lie. It really has been. I had one decent bite on one of the bends further upstream and missed that, and I could tell it was a chub bite, typical damage to the lobworm. So I was wondering, you know, I've been a bit finicky today, dropped into a few more swims. That last swim that you saw me in was, I mean, spot on really, nothing at all. But yeah, lovely bite under the bridge, typical kind of feature to get fish under. And the good thing with a bridge, normally 9 times out of 10 when you've got cars going over it regularly, yeah, fish aren't too spooky, aren't too wary. That was a very good bite. Well, I'd say it was around about the 4 pound mark, if not over, but we'll see. Might be out with my estimate. Well, not quite a 4 pounder, but my guesstimate wasn't too far out, £3 13 ounces. What a lovely scrap, and very nice to have on what's proven to have been so far quite a tricky trip with only a 1 missed bite. Says me. Oh, where are you going? Hang on, don't you want to say hello to the chaps on YouTube? It's a lively soul. But yeah, on what's been a tricky trip, it's nice to have this fish under the bridge, as you've seen, on the lobworm. I've only missed one other bite trying numerous swims, so it's been very tricky. On a waterway on its given day, that can be easily as moody as some of the stretches of the river lobmire I fish. Easily. But yeah, nice to have caught this fish. It's a beautiful looking chub. Fine example of what you'd expect to catch from a small waterway. And yeah, as I say, from a waterway that can be very, very moody, yet rewarding. It's great to always have one of its occupants. But yeah, I'm very, very happy with that. Lovely long, powerful, thick set chevy. Anyway, let's get Mr. Mouthy, although probably not as mouthy as its captor, given that I waffle on a bit too much at times, don't I, chaps? But yeah, let's get this chap slipped back. It's a nice chub, very nice chub. Very nice. And lots of good fish. That is a good fish. Nice looking fish, solid build. Oh yes. Very nice, very nice. And I tell you what, no matter whatever or however a trip goes, you guarantee that if you try your utmost, you know, you can't be left wondering if you kind of let the fish down, or let the river down, or the waterway in general, you know. If you try your utmost, even if you can go home with your tail between your legs sometimes, it's, you know, you've given it your best shot. And sometimes, it's just sometimes, I'm not saying all the time, but sometimes, that extra bit of persistence adds that extra bit of percentile fortune. Can give you a few fish on a tough day. And you know, the conditions, as I said today, the conditions have been brilliant. You know, I can't as I said earlier, I can't use that as an excuse, and I wouldn't use it as an excuse. The conditions have been superb, but you know, sometimes you can have good conditions and the fish still won't play ball as good as you'd expect, or maybe you're just not fishing that well. Personally today, I don't think I fished bad. I don't think, but I'm just being very blasé with that. I don't feel I fished bad, and I'm very hypercritical of myself. It has just been very tricky. It can be a very, as I said before, very moody waterway, but there's some beautiful rewards to be had, be that chub, perch, pike. You know, there's some cracking fish in here, and this particular chub is certainly no exception. Very, very cagey bites though, always very cagey, edgy fish. I mean, I've walked along this particular section that I'm now on in the past, and literally been as quiet as you'd expect a big guy to be, and I really do try, despite what people might think, I really try my utmost to be very, very quiet. And I've literally looked over swims right in the edges in autumn time when the water levels have been low, and I have literally spooked chub. I mean good sized chub, I mean decent 5s, and they can be very, very spooky on here, but it's typical like a small waterway can be. It does help to be as quiet as you can. And I tell you what, I've got a bad habit of happening, or even doing, and that's going into a swim and seemingly trying my best to avoid making any noise and standing on what is usually the driest stick in the swim. But yeah, I'm very, very happy with this. It looks a cracking chub, and you know how much I love my chub. Well, how's about that then? £5 2 ounces of solidly built, tank-like, small river chevin. I love the species, and when they start packing on this kind of size, they get a battering ram and clattering ram, bullet blunt headed look about them, and they look like they mean business. And this is, as I say on many of my videos, this is why I love my small waterways. Many people will travel further afield for their fishing and ignore some great fishing on their doorstep, and that's what I don't want any of you chaps to do, because, you know, why do that when you've got some good fishing in your own locality? A little bit of looking about, and what a reward. What an absolute corker. How about that? How about it? Yes. And that was on the cheese paste. I switched over. I had a couple of very finicky knocks on the lobworm. Can sometimes be like that, as much as the lobworm can really get an instant take. Sometimes they can just knock at it and then drop back. So I put in a few little bits of nips of bread, you know, punch as such, pinch together, put down there, a few bits of cheese, and this one took the grilled blue cheese. As I say, you cannot beat that recipe, and it is on my YouTube channel on a cheese paste video if you want us to check it out. But one on the lobworm, one on the grilled cheese paste, and what a cracker too. As I say, £5 2. Look at that for a blunt head. Well, what wonderful way to cap off the trip is coming up to 20 to 5. I have got to be heading off earlier than I would like to. Believe me, I'd like to fish a little bit longer if I could, but I have got to be going. It's been very enjoyable, and just to have that fish earlier on was nice because it's been perfect conditions, settled, still, very conducive to a fish or two. If you was going barbel fishing, this would be spot on. So, you know, it's the way it goes sometimes. You can have really tricky trips. I know you said tricky trips when the conditions are spot on. As I said, that can be just the way it goes. If you're fishing a very moody river, even when the conditions are conducive to a fish or two and for them to be feeding, you can really, scratch about for fish. Now that's been the case today. It's been hard going, but as I said, giving it your all as such, and that extra 1 or 2% of concentration, and not giving up as such, yeah, sometimes it pays off, but at least you can go home, even though you might be a bit, with your tail between your legs as such, you can go home with your head held high that you tried your best, and sometimes it does pay off. And yeah, I think today, personally, not being blasé yet, as I say, I do think it's paid off. That lovely £5 2-ounce chub. Wow, what a fish. What a beautiful example of a large chub from a small river. And yeah, as I say, it's been brilliant today. I do apologise to you chaps, if there wasn't more fish, and you might not be too happy with that, but that's fishing. You guys know as much as I do. We try our utmost, and sometimes it can be really tricky, and other times it can be tricky, but you can nick a couple of fish, and one of those can be quite special, like today's. Very enjoyable to have that fish. I tell you what, absolutely made up with it. So I do hope you've enjoyed the scenery, enjoyed the couple of chub that were caught. It was tricky going despite good conditions, but yeah, as always, I just love making the videos, being able to put them up to share with you guys, for you guys to watch and enjoy and mull over and have a chat with me about. And I would certainly hope that I'd never tire of wanting to make the videos and vlogs and putting them on YouTube to share with you chaps, because I really do, as I say, enjoy it. But would have been nicer to have a few more fish, but what price a beautiful chub like that and the other chub by the bridge swim? It's been tricky, as I say. Conditions have been spot on, but still been tough going. But we managed to nick a couple of fish, didn't we? And one of those was a rather beautiful one at that. So I will see you on my next video. I do hope you've enjoyed this video. As I say, could have done maybe with a few more bites throughout, but some lovely swims for you guys to watch me while away the fishing trip in and try and chance my arm in. So hope you've enjoyed that, and if you have, do consider giving it a thumbs up. That would be heartily appreciated. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, click the subscribe button below and click the bell icon so that you get notifications for when I upload new videos. Anyway, till my next video, tight lines guys, goodbye.